So back to motorbikes again, and we've got a little update for you on the 1948, I believe it was, B.S.A C11, and also a bit of a response to some of the comments on the last video. A few eagle-eyed viewers, one in particular, a few of the eagle-eyed viewers pointed out that kept saying it should be a 6-volt battery, which I just ignored the comments for a start, because did indeed order a 6-volt battery. Assumed I'd fitted a 6-volt battery, and then after somebody pointed out that it's actually 12-volt, I had to come out on Christmas Day and take the battery out. And sure enough, despite the fact that I'd ordered a 6-volt battery, I had taken the battery out of the 6-volt battery box. What was in it was 12-volt. Oversight on my part, I don't know. Should you have to check what you receive when you order something? I guess so, but I didn't. Anyway, luckily we've got away with it. It's not broken anything, burnt anything out, and a 6-volt replacement is on its way. Again, numerous people very kindly and politely pointed out that this is a dip switch and not a kill switch, as I had assumed. However, what did really gripe me is there were 2 or 3 comments from people that, to be honest, in most hobbies you always find there's a few people that think they know better than everyone else, and usually they just keep out of it and keep their mouth shut. But there was 3 comments made on the last video. 2 of them were removed later, so they obviously realised just how much of a dick they were being and changed their mind. But one particular comment, and I hope you're going to come onto this video and update us with your thoughts with my reaction to your comment, and that was from Jan H1720. I'll try and put the comment up on the screen. It says, if you don't know the difference between an ignition switch and a headlamp dip switch, or understand 6-volt electrics, then perhaps you shouldn't be messing about with old bikes like this, or posting on here about it. Now, comments like this really do grind my gears. I made it quite clear that I don't know anything about bikes, and 5, 6, 7 of the comments politely pointing out that it's a headlamp dip switch. Now, the reason I thought it was a kill switch is because it's very, very similar to a kill switch on numerous items of garden machinery, particularly Howard and things made by Howard and Hayter. So Mr. whatever your name was now, I've forgotten again, on the screen here I'm going to put a Howard kill switch, which, if you'll look, is exactly the same part. Anybody else can be able to see that. So if you would just like to point out to me how you tell the difference between a dip switch and a Howard kill switch, I'd really like to hear from you, because it's the same part number, it's the same item from any supplier, it's the same thing. And that was a first look without, as soon as you look at how it's wired, and it's wired into the headlight, it's quite obvious what it is, but that was merely just changing the switch on the first time touching anything. And it is people like this that are the reason there are no younger people getting into this hobby. Why on earth would somebody want to get into a hobby where a lot, I'm not going to say all, I'm not even going to say a lot, there are just some, and there are some in every hobby, but there seems to be far more in motorcycles, vintage motorcycles, than anything else, where they think they know absolutely everything and nobody else should be touching things they know best. And that is what's spoiling it for everybody else. That is why you've not got any younger people coming into the hobby. As well, there is the cost side of it as well. People just don't have the disposable income, but there are cheap ways into stationary engines, motorcycles, classic cars, etc. But a lot of the older generation just seem dead set on pushing all these people away, so they don't get involved, and then they wonder why there's nobody to take up the reins when they're finished. It's sad, really, but that is the way of the world. And as I say, there's some in every hobby, but vintage motorcycles seems to be the absolute worst. They just act like spoilt children that know everything. Not all, not most, just some. So don't get offended by that at all. Anyway, back to the update on the motorcycle. So last time we did have it running. Thankfully we didn't melt anything with the 12-volt battery. Since then we have had a new key arrive from BSA Unlimited on eBay. The battery, 6-volt replacement battery, which I'll be getting in a moment. And if you remember rightly, last time, although it started and it ran and it pulled me up the road, it wouldn't rev. So we're going to have the carb off again, actually take it off this time. I haven't got the ultrasonic cleaner here, but I'm going to take it to bits, strip it, clean it, or at least clean the jets, put it back on, and hopefully we'll be able to get some kind of throttle response out of it. So I have cheated a little bit. I've already been in and loosened the fuel pipe. Like so. It'll start dripping in a minute. And we know the carb comes off relatively easily because we had it off to free the needle, didn't we? That fuel tap doesn't appear to be doing its job. Is that going to stop it? Yeah, I think that'll do. Maybe even put it up there out of the way so it's higher than the head of fuel. So that's one of the nuts off the carb. That's two. Get the cable out and the slide. That's three. One carb. It does look a little bit manky, but I think it's allowed to after 40 years, don't you? So we'll get that in the shed. Give it a bit of a strip down and a wash out. Probably make a new gasket for that by the looks of it. And see if things improve. So we've took the float bowl off. And do we think that could be something to do with it? Camera will focus. Look at the state of that. So we'll get that cleaned up, blow through with the airline, and see if that improves things. So we've had it to pieces, clean that jet out, and now just going to clean up that face a little bit more and make a gasket. I've got a gasket set on the way because I do intend eventually potentially stripping that engine and rebuilding it. Not that it needs it, but just as a bit of a precautionary measure and a reason to make some more videos. But for now, it's no different to purchasing a gasket. Just going to make a gasket with this bit of gasket paper, put it over the flange, mark it out, cut it out. Very, very simple, and something that just about everybody should be able to do. So literally just get your paper over the flange, and with a mucky finger, as you can see, go to town on the edges, like so. And there you have it. There's your gasket. Easy as that. So, we've cleaned up that gasket surface. Put the needle back in. Like so. Get the cap back on. Preferably in the right position. Remember, there's that little lug which has to sit just there. There we go, that has. Like so. Check that it still pulls, which it does. Onto that new gasket we've made. Nut and washer on the back. Nut and washer on the front. Like so. Do them up. Probably going to have to put some more petrol in it in a minute, because there wasn't a lot in it going it last time, and we have since spilt a load. That side, not nipped it down yet, just take the slack up, let it seat down on that gasket, because we don't want that leaking. That side. And that side. Just check whether we've got any fill left. No is the answer to that. So we'll have to go get some fuel. Get that nipped up. Like so. It's going to be a bit naughty. Haven't got a spanner out here, the right size for the fill pipe. So, engineer's nightmare, adjustable, like so. And now we'll get some fuel in and go for a start. Fresh petrol. Kind of pleased how clean the fuel tank was on this one, because the next one I want to have a play with didn't look so clever. But this one had obviously been drained. That should do, just for a quick test. Battery connected, like so. Fuel on. Take the carb lid off, float bowl lid off so we can see. Looks like we've got fuel coming up, he says. Probably would appreciate a new tap, to be honest. Unless it's the cap that's... No. It is coming very slow. Probably that filter in the bottom of the tank, although it looked clean. I should think it's got a few nasties on it. So for the sake of the video, we'll cheat a minute. Fill the float bowl up. Like that. Put the lid on. Like so. And push it off the stand. Ignition on with the key, not the dip switch. Started much easier last time before we had the carb off, that's for sure. One moment. So I have just whipped the fill tap out, and sure enough it's full of manky gunk, rust and crap, and I mean the filter's even been removed, to be honest, which isn't great. Which means we've run out of daylight for today. It doesn't look too much on the camera, but it's very, very quickly going to become dark. So we're going to have to bring you another update later in the week. But we got it running. We got it revving. Now we just need to take it for a ride. And on that note, thank you very much for watching. I do hope you've liked this video and subscribed to the channel. And until next time, goodbye.